Crisis in PDP deepens. Governor Wike denied going to court. Please watch.
For the first time, we are going to have two mainstream political parties being challenged by a formidable third force.
So anybody who knows me knows too well. If I was going to court, I would have gone to court within 2 weeks after the primaries, because it is a pre-election matter. And after 2 weeks, he can't go to court. The legal advisor of the party called me and told me he knows that there's a mischief going on. That he knows me very well. If I'm going to court, it's not those kind of lawyers I would have used. And I don't even know the lawyers. But I want to tell the candidate, it is the candidates group that are doing all these things. Let the world hear. They are the ones plotting all these things, thinking that they will spoil my name. You cannot. Yesterday they said, I removed all PDP flags in Rivers State government house. We are supposed to be talking about how you win an election. It's not about these run seekers around people. They are not doing him any favor. But those of you who are plotting and put my name that I went to court, for you to come out now to say, oh, we can't want to go, shame will be on you. Shame will be on all of you.
Interesting. Everyone is wondering what exactly is happening within the PDP at a time when it should actually be playing the lead role as the lead opposition party. It is immersed in its own internal crisis. What do you make of this? First as a journalist and then as a politician.
Well, as a journalist, I'm not surprised. We have a presidential election. In Nigeria, it's a game of almost winner takes all. So the stakes are very high. So there will be quite a number of fisticuffs here and there. If you go into APC, they have their own crisis. You go into the other parties, they have their crisis. In PDP, it's unfortunate that we're yet to settle down after the fallouts from our primary. Of course, we just played a video of the governor of Rivers State, a man we call governor of governors. He's been one of the best governors, if you ask me, in Nigeria, if not the best. But unfortunately, I don't know how come my party and my candidate, Atiku Abubakar, has not been able to pacify him. Maybe there is more than meets the eye. But from my own personal investigation as a journalist, I've been told that last year, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar met with Governor Wike and wanted them to run a joint ticket, and an agreement was reached. And thereafter, Governor Wike decided that he is running on his own because of the party constitution, which normally would have ceded power to the South. After 8 years of Buhari, I mean, we all expected that power would come to the South. That's one of the reasons I contested. But I knew as far back as March this year that Governor Wike was interested. They had not told anybody then. I'd been with him in Port Harcourt, and I stayed with him in Port Harcourt more than in Lagos, because we were doing some work with him, just like Channels TV. You know, we call him Mr. Projects, and he's been launching projects after projects. So I sent him a letter, and I copied 2 people, Chief Michael Zekume, SAN. I copied the immediate past Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Mohammed Adoke, in the letter. I said, I know you want to run to be president of Nigeria. I did the same thing as far back as 1991 with Chief Mk Abiola. I can read. One of the talents I have is I can read the mood around me. So I knew Governor Wike was interested, but he didn't tell anybody. He kept it close to his chest. And I advised him. I said, as a Democrat, I'm not going to ask you not to run, but from the feelers I'm getting around, you are going to have a lot of resistance. You have a lot of enemies who will pretend to be your friends. Wherever there is money, wherever there is power, you will see people pretend. But I'm one person that I will advise you, no matter how big you are, from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Governor Wike, I always intervene at such moments. So I told him, I said, please have your option B. It is good that you are fighting for power to return to the South, but you may not be the sole beneficiary. And I pleaded with him. I said, I'm running. I'm your friend. I'm your brother. I'm running. If you support me, I'm sure we will get it. And I went to the extent of even announcing a kind of shadow cabinet in advance. It's something that fascinates me about England, where you have an idea of who becomes what. For me, if you give Governor Wike an opportunity to fix electricity in Nigeria, we do it. If you give him the opportunity to fix our roads, he will fix it. But what everybody says about him is that he is too volatile. So when I told him that, he got angry. That what do they mean that he is volatile and all that? So that is the excuse people use. You see, presidency has a lot to do with your temper and temperament.
No, but Mr. Momodu, it would seem as if these painstaking efforts to appease Governor Wike is an acknowledgement by the leading opposition party that we can't move on without him.
No, it's not that they can't move on without him. It shows how important he is in the equation of things in Nigeria as it stands. As I told you, if you have a man who is your best governor, across board, across party lines, Wike stands out as a fantastic performer. And leadership is about performance. So today, the fear of Wike is the beginning of wisdom in PDP. There is no question about that.
So by PDP's calculations, if Governor Wike is not appeased, how many states in the southwest, south rather, will the PDP lose in the presidential election?
I'm not sure PDP will lose any state in the South-South. And I'll tell you why. The vice presidential candidate is from the South-South. Governor Wike would expect that his candidate for governorship, who is running on the platform of PDP, will win. So if you destroy PDP, so how will his candidate then win the gubernatorial election? So it's a catch-22 situation for him. But he's very smart. He knows the game he's playing. You know, what he wants to do is to force a deal with the party. That's my belief. That's my own reading of the situation. He is a very smart politician. I'm sure eventually the party will reach a deal with him. If I were the candidate, I told you just now, I already offered him, if I was the candidate, that Governor Wike, if you support me, I will do for you what President Buhari did for Fashola. Fashola had 3 portfolios at the time in Nigeria. So if you don't get what you want, for me, Fashola is even almost more important than the office of the vice president. So what I will advise Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to do today is to sit down one-on-one, no other person, with Governor Wike and agree on deliverables. If possible, sign an agreement.
What exactly is the issue, if there is a central issue?
One, Governor Wike believes the party should have respected our zoning formula, or whatever you want to call it. Number 2, he believes that that zoning would have favored a southern candidate. 3, he believes that of all the southern aspirants, he is the one who has the capacity to deliver victory to the party. Then number 4, initially, there have been videos of Governor Wike saying he can't be vice president to anybody. But I think members of his group were able to persuade him that, look, you've labored too much for this party, you've made so much contribution, why don't you accept number 2? And I heard there were 3 names on the list that was given to the presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. and Wike's name was on that list. I believe he thinks he should have been the one to make that vice presidential candidate.
Which is that ahead of the presidential primaries, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar approached Governor Wike and said, let us run a joint ticket. But Governor Wike said, no, I would rather run on my own. So when they were to present names to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to choose a vice presidential candidate, why didn't he go with Governor Wike, who was the preferred of that committee?
I think by then, some things had changed. That's, again, according to my own investigation. Remember, and this is one of the problems, the manner that Governor Tambuwa stepped down for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Governor Wike, was miffed that, look, we had passed that stage. No one was supposed to be allowed to go back to the podium to make an announcement and tell the delegates who to vote for. That was part of the problem. But again, if Alhaji Atiku Abubakar had picked Governor Wike as VP, some people in his own circle of influence were of the opinion that it would be a spite on Tambuwa who stepped down, because Wike would have lost nothing. A vice president is almost as good as a president anywhere in the world. In the absence of the president, the vice president. So a lot of people were feeling that, look, it would have been a slap on Governor Tambuwa who stepped down for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. I'm using this platform to appeal to our candidate that if we must win next year's election, he must work harder at reaching out to everybody. Everyone counts. Because the election of next year is going to be like no other. For the first time, we are going to have two mainstream political parties being challenged by a formidable third force. So every vote will be very important. Every stakeholder must be reached out to.